The bottleneck is this and this, and you're like, yeah, I'm doing this. It has nothing to do with it. You act like you're this big Titanic ship like Tanner. So when I want to turn the ship, it's like this. You're like this, and you've got like two people. You're just like, nope.
Oh, kumbaya.
If you can do it and they can't, then what's the issue? Is it the fucking ad? Or is it the fucking dipshit you put in charge? You know what I'm saying? Like, you answer all your own questions. You know the solution. You just have to do it. Sandwich is gonna still be a sandwich no matter how many times you move it in a blender and add vegan protein to it.
My name is Rose and I own a vegan fitness coaching company. I always wanted to help people. Went to school for engineering. I was in an engineering job that I hated. I would drive to work. I had a 2-hour commute. I would drive just like stone-faced, so unhappy. I always knew I wanted to do something else. So one day I was scrolling on Instagram. There was another vegan coaching company who I had been following a while. So one of the members I thought was really cute. So I just slid into the DMs and we ended up going on a first date. Flash forward, I now knew that this kind of business model existed. So I was like, okay, I had an Instagram already for my recipes. And then when the pandemic happened and I had clients that I was training in person on the side of my real job, I was like, okay, maybe I can just merge everything online. 3 years later, here we are. The reason why I know Tanner is through him, and we ended up working together July of 2022. And I always knew that Tanner was the best business coach that exists, but I went with a different business coach first. My first business coach, just taught me how to sell, and then I was stuck at the same amount per month, and I was literally for 18 months, I did not take a single day off. I did not see friends. I did not have fun. I was just in this grind mode, and I just couldn't really see a light at the end of it. And I always knew that I needed to work with Tanner eventually, but I was scared. Finally did it, and that was July of 2022. It grew so much. December was my highest month, and then I started focusing more on ads and not organic. August of this year, right after we stopped working together, I didn't re-sign, and I went to Europe for 2 months, and I was just kind of living my best life and relaxing, and then I came back and I hired a hybrid sales rep, and now it's like, okay, I know there are some shifts I need to make with my business, things that aren't working, especially my ads. So now the focus is like, what can I pivot to get to the amount of money per month consistently that I really want? And now I'm in a better place in terms of I'm relaxed from my trip, and I'm really, really ready to scale to the next step. Tanner, I brought you a present, so you won't rip on me too hard.
Should I look now or should I look later?
You should look now.
Wow. This is actually the best one we've had so far since I get a gift. Chapstick.
That's not the gift, but that's yeah.
Well, I'll definitely fucking use it, trust me. Look at all the chapstick I have right here. It's actually one of my favorite things.
When you get mad, you're just like ferociously putting it back on.
Did that thing just break? Yes, this is actually perfect. Okay, it says on the back. I closed $70 million in sales. How about you? Oh, that is epic. Thank you, Rose.
You're welcome.
That's so sweet. Bro, this thing fucking, what the Okay.
Just for the backstory.
Okay. Always love me a backstory. And a back robe. Go for it.
This is gonna be good. Okay, so my last month with you was July. Yep. I went to Europe, didn't re-sign, so I had my little fun. Okay. So you told me to spend more on ads, which I did, but now I feel like I need to just pivot my ads because they're not working. Okay. So last month was $50K because I had 22 from client extension. So it was only $16K collected from ads, $11K from payment plans from current clients, and then 22 from extensions.
What's extensions, like upgrades?
Yes, which the last time that happened was June. So that is not every month.
Okay. So you're giving me numbers for June?
No, that's November, but I was saying the upgrades happen twice a year, so I can't rely on that.
Why only twice a year? Is a 6-month program?
Well, I don't ask for it, except that I need it.
Why?
Like, I don't make a push to ask for it.
What do you mean you don't make a push? Like, is that not an SOP where you guys are like constantly trying to upsell?
I mean, it's in the SOP, but
Who's the coach? Are you the coach?
no, I have two.
Okay, so what are the KPIs for your coaches that you track?
That they have to have 30%.
I mean, there's only three things you can track. Pilot reviews, videos, upgrades. So you literally should have a sheet that like tracks that.
Yeah, I should do that.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Do you want us to get you like a copy of ours?
No, I could do it.
Okay. I mean, like, yeah. So, I mean, this is if I went in someone's business and I was like, "Who's your best coach?"
Yeah.
I could tell from these numbers.
Yeah.
That's as simple as that. If they can't get reviews, that means they're not doing a good job. If they can't get upgrades, it means they can't sell. Both are issues. They have to be able to sell and get reviews.
Yeah.
Big shift I'm making in the coaching staff is like, they got to be able to sell. What did you spend on ads? You said you made 16. What did you spend?
10.
Okay, so you spent 10. All right. And that's what you collected or revenue?
Collected.
Okay.
And then cost per app is $150.
Okay. What's your lead cost?
It is $5.
Okay. All right. 5. Okay.
And then we only sent 500 organic messages,
Okay.
which is low.
Okay.
And
What else?
then we only got 8 clients.
Okay.
And then,
Too high. Cost of acquisition is way too high.
yeah.
Okay.
And then since I have the hybrid closer, her close rate's 33% this month. And then show was, no show was 32.
Okay. Are you off all calls?
Yeah.
So all the sales came from Sam?
Yeah.
Okay. Cost of acquisition is way too high. So you spent 10K, you got 8 clients. So it's what's 10 divided by 8?
28.
1250.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absurd. This comes off to me like there's an issue in your process. You're getting 30 leads and I have 30 leads. You can only get 1 to book a call.
Yeah.
That's really
So, yeah.
It should be about 10%. So 10% is like if you had 30 leads, you get 3 book calls.
Yeah.
Which means this would be $66. Your cost of acquisition is way too high. So the first thing that I'm going to look at, like your app cost is okay, but if you're getting this many leads, that to me is like there's a messaging issue or follow-up issue, or you're just getting a lot of bad leads.
They're not bad leads. So this is what the issue is. So when I originally ran my ads, I did it for a recipe ebook, right? And since I'm very slow to change things.
Yes, you are.
Yes. So it's still, so let's see, I have 22% of what I spent on ads is one recipe ad. And then 36% is a new one.
Okay, but what does that have to do with this? Like, let's bring back to this.
Yeah. So I'm getting a lot of good leads, but the desire is not there. I'm not targeting the right people. Majority of them are tire kickers. So my messengers aren't hitting KPI.
Like, do you know that by auditing, or you're just taking your messenger's word for it?
My sheet, they're not hitting KPI.
Right, but I know, but like you're saying it's because there's not a lot of good leads and blah, blah, blah. How do you know that? You're taking it from them, their word, or did you go look?
Well, the issue is that I can go in and book a lot of calls.
Sure.
So they're fine.
So they suck.
Yeah. So I'm getting a new one.
So yeah, you got to manage, period. Like if they're not hitting KPIs, then you work with them till they are, you fire them, and you got to get faster. It's like, it's not rocket science. You should be getting, for that, if you really are at 10%, you should be getting 3.
Yeah.
Which would mean that drives down this. So if that drives down this and that cuts that, what's going to do to that? It's going to cut it in a third. Yeah. So then what happens? 400.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
The whole business changes.
Yeah.
Now this is like 30 grand.
Yeah. And
right. Now, the other thing you might need to look at is like probably a messaging issue. Mm-hmm. If it's a lead issue, then you need to change the ad.
Yeah.
Ad's like, if you don't make 100 grand a year, don't click here, fucker. That's his ad. It's like,
that's not going to be my ad.
That's fine, but it's just like, if you're not getting serious people, then like, step it up. The only other part on this is that obviously like it could be Sam, right? So like if she's doing 1250, it's like you look at her closing, it's like I think 33%. Like what's the least amount she takes? Like out of these 8 clients, like what's the lowest she'll take?
1,500.
Okay, so it's a decent amount. So she can't go below 15. Right, well that's what I'm saying. What's the cost of the program?
32.
Okay, so what's the lowest she could take down? So the brokest of the brokest. And they're like, I want to do it. I'll do anything.
400.
Okay, so like to me, 400 is like decent though. I mean, it's not like, it's not a small change. I mean, that would be the other part, right? So if your closer's better, that will also cut that. But realistically, it's like, if you're doing everything you can with her and you want to keep her, then you need to move more to here.
Yeah.
Right? If you fix the numbers, it'll get better. If you don't fix the numbers, it won't. You have to be faster. Lead cost to here should be 10%. So if you get 100 leads, you should book about 10 calls, right? So if you're getting 30 leads, you're booking 1. That's like, it's not really that good. It's fucking trash.
Yeah.
And then if you're like, oh, it's the ad's fault, change the ad. If it's the messenger's fault, can fix that. You should be working with them and Sam. Like that should be most of what you do all day is like listening to her calls, reviewing with her, reviewing them. Like you should have an hour call with them per day where they can like either you're reviewing their messages or they're watching you message.
Yeah.
If you do that and then you spent this 10K, and let's say you cut that in half, then let's say realistically, this probably would be like 28K and then you can scale. I mean, it's been the same thing. There's really nothing complex about what's going on with you. It's just, I guess like I want to ask you like, what do you do? So if I watch you all day, what do you do?
Yeah. So I had a lot of fulfillment that I was doing, but I don't do that anymore.
Okay, so tell me what you do now though. Just like, I watch you all day and I was like, this is what Rose does. She wakes up, she brushes her teeth, she eats vegan food. What else do you do?
Track my metrics.
What's that?
The ads.
Okay, so you do ads.
Yeah.
Okay. You run the ads, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
Yeah. And then I'll hop on calls with, usually I do train my messenger. I just had to get a new one. And then I've honestly been messaging all day.
Why?
Because
they suck?
They're not hitting the KPI.
Okay, so like, then like Rose, if you're doing the job for them, just get rid of them.
Yeah.
And then just do it yourself. You realize it's easier to not train someone and do it yourself than it is.
That's why I always do that.
Okay. So you need to get more comfortable being uncomfortable and just telling them like, hey, like, love you so much. God bless you. Hope you have a good rest of your life. This will be the last time you speak. Move on. Okay. What do you do? What else do you, so what is this? When you say messenger, it's like, is that an hour call? What is it?
With my messenger?
Yeah. What is this? Is it an hour call? What is it?
30-minute call.
30 minutes. Okay. So daily?
We've been meeting daily.
Okay, so maybe you bump it to an hour.
Yeah.
That's a problem to me. And if they're perfect, they're the fucking best in the world, then you need to change the ad.
Yeah.
But more than likely, it's like 30 people. You can't book 3 fucking calls. Jesus, like it's not an hour. Okay, so then what else do you do?
Like I said, I've been messaging.
Right. So you just message all day.
For the most part.
Okay.
For at least 5 hours. And then review calls, meet with her daily.
Okay. That's like when you review her calls, how do you do that?
I'll listen to them and send her a link.
All of them? Or like what? How do you do it?
3 per week.
Just 3 random calls?
Yeah.
Okay. How does she do her notes at the end of the day? Does she do notes?
No.
Okay. So here's what you need to do. Very simple. So at the end of the day, what he does, he'll come in. He'll be like, first call, da-da-da. Second call, da-da-da. Third call, da-da-da. Fourth call, da-da-da. I can tell based off the notes which ones he probably f***ed up. So I'm like, hey, send me this call, send me this call. Those 2 calls, I'm like, they're probably fine, right? That way, like, you can optimize. 3 calls a week probably isn't enough.
Yeah.
Depending, let's see what you do. But it's like, okay, so that's an hour a day. This is an hour a day. Let's assume in the future, like, we don't have to keep doing all the work for someone. So what else do you do? Is this pretty much all you do?
Pretty much. And then like an hour on content and then probably...
An hour on content a day? Do you get a lot of sales from it or no?
It depends. I mean, I feel like I have to have it.
How do you get most of the sales? I mean, it looks like last month, I mean, you made most of your... I mean, you didn't make any money except re-signs.
Yeah.
Besides this, what else did you make? Was there anything?
It wasn't in organic. It was 1 client from organic.
Okay. So an hour a day doing that is probably not a good use of your time, I would say. So like maybe less content. How much content do you put out?
One every day.
So it takes you an hour to do one fucking post?
Reel or like stories or
Are you
whatever.
fucking serious? An
Yeah.
hour to do one fucking post?
Yeah.
Bro, what the Seriously? Okay. Bro, why? Like, what are you fucking posting? Like, are you fucking doing a whole fucking dinner? Or like, what are you doing?
I like to make it look nice.
Bros. All right. Do you do Stairmaster or treadmill? What do you do for the gym?
Yeah.
Okay, that's your time to do content.
I do messaging there.
Bros, okay, look. You're better off doing more messaging than fucking making content.
Yeah.
The content doesn't help you, apparently. You said you got one sale from organic. So why are you spending 30 hours a month getting 0 clients? It's like, why don't you spend 30 hours reviewing calls or doing something more productive?
When you put it that way, it makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense, obviously. It just don't, like, it doesn't need to take that long. Like, I have a bigger team now, but if I was doing my content, I write it on the Stairmaster and that's my piece of content for the day. Or I'll just do a video where I'm just talking. Like, it's like, unless you're going super viral, like Meng, what's her face? She goes viral. So I was like, all right, how much time does it take you to go viral? She's like, well, it takes me like this long. I'm like, okay, so you're gonna do a half hour like every other day or something. But it's like, other than that, it doesn't make sense. So for you, you need to chill that out. I don't think one piece of content a day is bad, but it doesn't need to take you a fucking hour. That's like saying it takes you an hour to wipe your like, no, that's just too long. You know, like that's just too long. Like I'm sorry, I just don't know how else to say it. It's like take the piece of paper and you're done. Like,
I mean,
so
you're a guy.
I know, but I'm just saying like that's too long. Like you can't do it. So we need to cut that time down, or you need to post less. Like do 3 posts a week.
Yeah.
The bottleneck is this and this. And you're like, yeah, I'm doing this. It has nothing to do with it. The content does not matter that much. You have plenty of content. If someone came to your page, they know what it's about. Yes. So do you posting a new piece of content every day matter? No, I don't think it does.
Yeah.
At all. Okay?
Yeah.
It's just a waste of time. So less content. Like, it doesn't need to look nice. Like it just needs to get out there. I know you think it matters. It doesn't. So less content. What else do you do?
And then fulfillment stuff that pops up.
Like what?
So like one of my coach's clients, something happens.
Like
and they need me.
What does that mean? They need you. What happened?
Like if they need help with I have one coach whose metrics are really good and then another one whose metrics aren't.
Okay. So you do their job for them? Is that
practically?
Okay. So I don't.
Yeah.
Okay. So Rose, like it's very simple. It's very simple how, okay, so then you're doing their job, right? So you pay people money and you do their job. So it's a great deal for them. What else? Is that it?
And then I still do like a little bit of onboarding. So if Sam gets new clients.
For sake. Okay. So, all right. Rose, what else? Is that it? Please tell me it's over. Is there anything else?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So let's go through the things you need to do, and then let's go through the things you don't need to do, okay? What you do need to do is this. Okay, you do need to do this, okay? You do need to do this. You do need to do this. You probably will need to do that until they're at least good enough. And then you definitely should not be doing onboarding, and you shouldn't be doing any fucking coaching unless it's literally a fire, meaning like they're like, I'm gonna fucking cancel or fucking leave you bad reviews. Like that would be it. And then the content needs to go way down. Like none of that, this doesn't move the business. The way managing works is very simple. You bring them in and you make an SOP. The SOP should be so crack tight that a moron can fucking follow it and get results.
Yeah.
If you give it to them and they can't do it, it means it's not crack tight. Like it needs to be fucking just like that. Okay. Like I don't know how else to tell you. And they should have an SOP. So it's like, hey, dipshit coach. First thing, second thing, third thing, fourth thing, fifth thing, sixth, seventh, eighth. And at the end of the day, they're like, check, check, check. It just needs to be like that. If they can't do it, fire their ass and just do it for them. And then find someone else. If your coach sucks, you should be helping them coach. So you could be in 3-way conversations with the clients. Hey, say this, don't say that, etc. That's how I did when Beth came on. I was the coach. And then I started 3-way combos like this. And would coach him, and then we would go over. I was like, yo, don't say this, don't like, and until he got it. And then once he was good, I was like, okay, I'm gonna step out. If you have problems, come to me. You can't be like doing their job and it's just like either decide it's like, can they do it or not? If they can't, it's just you're wasting your time. Yeah. Right? And you got one messenger or 2?
I had 2.
How many do you have now?
1. I'm getting a new one, so it's gonna be 1. And then
okay, so you have 0 now.
Sam does.
Do you have 0 now?
No. I still have one.
Okay, is the one good or they suck?
They're leaving.
Jesus Christ. Okay, what do you pay them an hour?
17.
Why is she leaving?
Not hitting KPI. And like,
So they suck.
yeah.
Okay, so do you have an SOP for the messaging? Is like say this, do this. Okay, so you have to look yourself in the mirror. Why can't they hit the KPI? Are they fucking morons? Or did you not do a good SOP?
The SOP is fine. There's a discipline.
Okay, so they're fucking morons. So you need to ask yourself, why do I keep hiring fucking morons?
Yeah.
Well, do you know why? I'm being serious. Like, how do you interview? Like, if I listen to your interview, what do you say? You're just like, hi, my name is Rose. I'm very nice. Would you like me to pay your salary and do what do you do on the interview?
Well, I make them do a test to make sure they can do it.
Okay, what's a test? So
I watch them message. At first it was fine. And then I'm like, oh, maybe just my ads need to keep getting better. Maybe it's the leads. But then, but do you train them on a daily basis or do you just kind of get them in and then that's it? No, I train them.
Okay, so walk me through the progression. So I'm a messenger.
Yeah.
I pass the test. You think I'm fucking good. Then what happens?
Yeah. So they'll watch me message.
Okay.
And then I'll watch them message.
All right.
And then
eventually, what happens? So
eventually they don't need me anymore.
Okay. And then what?
I just review.
Okay. And then they start sucking.
Yeah.
Reviews could be a couple things. You could sit live and watch them and help them.
Yeah.
They could watch you live or you could go over old conversations. Do you do a mix? Do you just do old combos? What do you do?
We do a mix.
All right. So here's what we need to do. You need team members you can count on.
Yeah.
This starts with the initial interview. Okay, so when I get on the call, I talk about the company culture. All right. Then I talk about the position and what it entails. Okay, so it's like, you have to hit this KPI. These are the metrics. This is how it works. This is what my expectations are. I'm going to train you. Once you're done, then you have to fucking do it. If you can't do it, I'm going to fire you. That clear. Then I'll ask them, what's their experience, right? So it's experience and jobs, right? So I try to see what they've done in the past that maybe tells me they can do this. Maybe what you need to do is stop hiring people who don't have sales experience.
Yeah.
In that thing.
Yeah.
Right? It's easier to take a 7 to a 10 than it is to take a fucking to a 5. Okay?
Yeah.
If I'm trying to find a new sales rep and they're like, yeah, I was a setter. It's no, I want someone who's sold a bunch of money in B2B and already done it. Right? Why? Because I don't want to have to go through all this nuance, right? They need to know. Once I do that, then I'm asking them what's the ideal situation? So I'm what's the perfect company for you? What do you care about? Is it donuts? Is it time off? I don't generally give a what do you care about? Right? Once I do that, I'll ask them how much they want to make typically, right? And that's pretty much it. But I think what you need to do specifically is you need to scare people from working with you. You need to be yo, I've had to fire 3 people here. I'm really tired of it. I really want to find an A player. If you're not a fucking A player and you can't fucking perform, you're going to get cut really fast. I'm just being transparent. I don't have time for any bullshit. Once they come in here, you need to have a very clear SOP and then you need to train on a daily basis, right? And then what will happen is as you train on a daily basis, if they're improving, great. If they're not, get rid of them. You're already doing it already. When you're managing someone at the beginning, you're already doing so much.
My fault is just oh, I think it'll get better, get better. But then it's just
they won't.
Months go by.
And you've seen that now.
Yeah.
Stop doing that, right? We all know this. Oh yeah, they're probably gonna get better. It's they probably won't. If someone sucks at sales, it's not likely they're gonna get a lot better. Maybe I'll give them 30 days max. If you can't get it done in 30 days, you're gone. Period. Sam's calls, all you should be doing all day is getting people in these positions, and then all day you're just fucking doing this and that all day. That's all you're doing. And then you would have you could have one coaching call a day because you're still technically the manager of the coaches, or you make one of them the fucking manager so they deal with the coach. So I want you to spend less time doing content.
Yeah.
I want you to do this would be 1 hour a day if needed. It's 30 minutes to an hour. And if you're having a problem with someone, then you need to spend the time with them, daily. As they get better and you're hey, then you could go back to maybe 3 times a week. Then you go to 1 time a week. Then maybe it's bi-weekly. The better the player, the less you meet with them. Ben, I don't meet with Ben very much. I don't need to. He knows what he's doing. That's all you should be doing all day. This should take you 15 minutes, right? Max. The messengers, you could work with them for 4 hours a day. It's this is just if you're busy, but it's if this is your bottleneck, work with them until you can make a decision. And having take sales calls makes no sense. You take the sales calls and have her message. You know what I mean? It's like, that's the most important part is the sales call. So
Yeah.
it's like now you have her taking the sales calls who's not as good as you. And now you're messaging. It's like, what? It's like backwards. So for now, where your business is at, you cannot do onboarding. That's that is a low level skill. My dementia grandma can do that. Like, you can't do that. Your issue right now is like, you got to turn from a solopreneur into an entrepreneur until you get sick of it enough to where you're annoyed. This will keep happening.
Yeah.
Whenever I talk to you, you just never really seem that annoyed. It may just be your personality, but you know, you tell me the problems and I'm like, but you know what to do. It's just like, you don't do it. That's what I usually feel. I feel like you know what to do. If you fix this KPI and you fix that KPI, then all of a sudden your ads are more profitable. Wow. And it's like, you didn't change anything except your team needs to be fucking better.
Like, do you think it's a team issue or my ads issue? Like, if I can go in and book calls.
Okay, so Rose, if you were doing this, what would you get? So if you were getting $5 leads and you had 30 leads, how many leads would you get to book a call?
My KPI, I can book at least one call every hour.
Okay, so but how many leads do you get an hour? That's what I'm trying to understand. Is like,
if I get...
Like if you had 30 people you talk to, like, could you hit 10%?
Yeah.
Okay, so your team usually won't be as good as you, but they should be like 80 or 90%. So if you're gonna hit 3, then they should hit probably at least 2 or 2.5.
Yeah.
And what your telling me is they're hitting 1. That's not good enough. They are not good enough, period. So that means either A, you're hiring holes, right? Hole, we'll put them here, or your SOPs are trash.
Yeah,
so it's, and it's like, and then I'm always telling you need to spend more. You're like, well, I can't. I'm like, well, why can't you? It's like, well, we're not converting.
Yeah.
It's like, because you can't do it all anymore.
Yeah.
You have to get other people to emulate what you need them to do.
Yeah.
And so you need to look for people who can get 80% of your results. So for example, if you close at 60%, 80% would be 40, not fucking 25 or whatever it is. I'm not against anyone on your team. I love Sam. She's great. I'm sure they're all sweet ladies and we can all have a cup of coffee. But it doesn't matter. It's like, I want to win.
Yeah.
If I broke your schedule down, you really should be like probably 4 hours here and then like 4 hours there.
Yeah.
And that's all you should be it's like, or like 3 and 3 or something. And then you do an hour here and that's it. And that's your day. All you're doing is managing all day. And if they can't do it, you get rid of them and you start over.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, like, experience beats potential. Now, granted, if it's a fucking messenger, it's like, okay, you can't get like Ben talent for 18 an hour or 17 or whatever it is, but you need to look for like, what skills do they have that show they have talent? So like when you talk to it's like, he seems somewhat intelligent. He can think clearly. He seems like he's good with communication. Like, look for those things, like the intangibles. If someone comes on call like, yeah, I worked in retail, I worked at McDonald's, I've been a realtor. It's like,
I wouldn't hire them.
Yeah, but then you're just like, I feel like I can just only picture your interviews. You're just like, yeah, like you're just perfect.
Well, I did that in the most current interviews that I had, and I'm still interviewing.
I interviewed for sales coaching position. There were like 300 applications, and I had 5 interviews, and I hired 1 person. Like your standards, you have to raise your standards. So I think when you're going into the interviews, use some fucking common sense and be like, am I settling for this? Or is this what I want? Because remember, every time you hire and train and fire, you're just wasting more time. What if you just did it yourself and waited another month? It's like, I don't think these are good enough. Let me wait a little longer. And then you finally are like, oh, this is the person. And then you hire that person, then they stay. That's the goal. All this attrition you're getting and people leaving, it's just a total fucking shit show, and it slows you down tremendously.
Yeah.
It tacks on 2 more months, 3 more months, 4 more months, 5 more months, right? Other than that, I don't think there's anything to focus on. Like, you just have to, this is the next evolution of your business. You have to learn how to hire and manage. And if you can't, you're not cut out for it. You should just be a solopreneur. Every solopreneur I met, they peak at 100, they can't ever get over it because they can't lead teams. They can't lead teams. So you might be able to like finesse a little bit more revenue, but that probably not. Like, your numbers are not there.
Yeah.
So you have to know, it's like, hey, if we're getting leads, we need 10%, period. So if you're getting 1,000 leads and you have less than 100 book calls, your team sucks. Now, could it be the leads? Sure, but how do you know? Go in and go, well, I closed 3. You said it yourself. Like, if you can do it and they can't, then what's the issue? Is it the fucking ad? Or is it the fucking dipshit you put in charge? You know what I'm saying? Like, you answer all your own questions. You know the solution. You just have to do it. You can't be nice to everyone. It's not even being mean. There comes a point where you have to decide, like, what am I going to do? And it seems to me like you always take the easier route, which is like, well, I'll just keep working with them and it's like, because you don't have like an uncomfortable conversation. It's just like, for me, I would just get sick of like doing what you're doing.
I'm sick of it.
I mean, I'm annoyed and I'm not even doing it.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed for you. It's just like, it's frustrating to even hear it. I'm just like, why? You can't feel responsible for other people. Mm-hmm. They're responsible for themselves. You can try to help them. You can nurture them. You can love them. You can lead by like giving and helping, right? Who worries about Tanner? No one. No one on the team checks on me or helps me with my tasks, right? So it's like, you just give them the best opportunity that you can. You have a really tight SOP, and then you're just like, this is what I can do. I need you to hit 80% of my KPI. If you can't do it, you're gone. That's it. So do whatever it takes to hit the KPI, work your hardest, and if you don't, you won't make it. I tell people that straight up on the calls. Like, I'll do an interview. I'm like, this is how it works here. This is how it's going to be. This is the environment you're coming into. And you just got to say that straight up. And then if people don't like it, it's like, good, off. This won't be a fit for you. I think like you're just hiring weaklings. Mm-hmm. And then when it comes to holding them accountable, you don't want to hold them accountable. Yeah. And it's like, then what? Then don't scale. You'll have less stress just doing all the messaging yourself or taking the sales calls yourself and not managing. You will. You'll have less stress because you'll just sit there and you'll know what to do and you don't have to talk to anyone. It'll take less energy than sitting there trying to tell a dumb what to do over and over again. You can only tell a dumb person so many times until it's like, it doesn't work anymore. Like, I'm only going to tell 1 or 2 times. I'm not going to tell him like 60 times. Like, hey, dude, do this. He's like, oh, then I'm not going to work with him. That's it. Shit sandwich is going to still be a shit sandwich no matter how many times you move it in a blender and add vegan protein to it. It just won't change. Yeah. And the frustrating part is like, you'll come here and you'll try to like deflect on all these things that it could be. And it's very simple. It's like, your coaches track the fucking numbers. If they can't hit the fucking numbers, they gotta fucking go. And then like my managers, if I see a manager and I'm like, why is this person still on the team? Oh, then you're fucking gotta go as a manager. Like they just have to do it. And some people mentally, they're not cut out to be managers. They're not cut out to be CEOs. They're whatever. You just have to do it. I mean, because I swear to God, if you come here in a year and you're still here, it's a mindset block for you. It's not, you can do it. You're not dumb. You're not stupid. You do the work. You work hard. I mean, it's painful for me because I'm just sitting here like, this sounds horrible. Yeah. Right? All your time should be literally like, you do 1 hour with the coaches, you do the ad metrics, and then the rest of the day is like sales, messaging, sales, messaging, sales, messaging. And you just do that until you find your people. And then once you find your people, then they can become the manager, or you just review them. Like, when you're genuinely like thinking about it, if your first initial reaction is like, oh, she's okay. Is that how you want it? Is that what you want? She's just okay. I don't know. Like, if she's good, great. I don't have a dog in the fight. Yeah. But if it's just okay, it's like, I keep telling my team the same thing. I'm like, why do we settle? Like, why do we settle for? Like, why do we just find just good enough people? Like, why don't we find the best people? Right? The people who don't need a lot of direction, who don't need hand holding, who have experience, right? So at the end of the day, like, when you hire, look for experience. Look for like, if they don't have direct experience, like, what are things they've done that could help? And if you're seeing patterns in your hiring that don't get results, stop hiring those types of people. Be like, all right, I'm going to look for something better. I'm going to hold out longer, right? We hired a girl the other day for our messaging team. She did messaging for, I think it was like, or someone else. So it was a great fit. It's like, I have tons of experience. I just don't like their culture anymore. I want out. Great. You know how to do it? She's like, yeah, these are my KPIs. I've messaged before. I understand business. I'm like, perfect. Right? I'm not like, oh, so you've done teacher and PE and all this other shit. Yeah, that was probably very applicable here. It's like, it's not applicable at all. So I think you need to have higher standards for your team, and then you need to hold people accountable. It's very simple. You have a sheet, you hit the number, or you can't work here, and that's it. You make it so complex. That's the whole point of KPIs. If you hit the KPIs, what happens? The business will work. If you're hitting 10% applications, the business will work. If you're doing that and has 3 times the amount of calls, guess what? Yeah. She'll close she'll close at a lower CAC. Yeah. So then you make more money. Like, it's just, or if she closes at a higher percentage, the CAC will also lower. That's the bottlenecks. And you're still trying to do everything yourself. So you got to decide, and I'm going to shut up and let you ask questions, but it's like, you just either have to do it with you got to get people to perform and you have to hold them accountable, or just fucking fire everyone, keep all the money, and just do it yourself. And when you want to break, you're just like, it, I'll just get to it tomorrow. And you get to it tomorrow. But it's like, this is terrible. I mean, you're literally making less money and you're probably stressing more.
Yeah.
And you're trying to take a and get him to learn math. Like, he's not going to learn it. It doesn't, like, it's okay. It's like, if someone's a nice person, that's fine. But it's like, you don't owe them anything. You don't owe them a job. You don't owe them, you're not a fucking charity, Rose. Like, this is a business. And the business, like, this is why, like, some people look at me as like I'm harsh, but it's like the business doesn't care. The business just cares if it gets what it needs to win. So at the end of the day, like, was it hard to fire Benson? Yes. Was it hard to fire Gentry? Yes. Was it hard to, with the bullshit we went with Matthew as a joke? Yes, it was a fucking joke, but it was like, it is what it is. They were not adept to do what we needed them to do. And I don't have time to sit there and train them for fucking a year. It's like, they gotta go. I just brought in, amazing. I think he's gonna fucking crush it for us. He's like probably the best coach we've ever hired or ever will hire. Like, who else are we gonna hire that has more experience than him, who's not running their own company? I mean, he used to do his. I told him the same thing. I was like, dude, I really need you to have high-level coaches. If the coaches we have are not good enough, we have to let them go. I'm gonna keep looking. I'm gonna keep interviewing. We have to. I can't, because we're all this settle shit, all it does is just waters the business down, waters it down, waters it down.
Yeah.
So what questions do you have? I mean, I could go over any metrics you want, but it's like, you already know what to do. You're like, yeah, I can hit this, but my team can't. It's like, yeah, well, then they're not
And
good
that's
enough.
the issue.
Like, when I've gone on calls with you last 2 weeks, they're 90% as good as me. There's a few things here or there, but I'm like, it's good enough. Like, this isn't the problem in the business. It's not. The biggest issue my company has right now is we get a bunch of coming through as leads. They're all beginners. Like, I need people making 30, 50, 100K. So why am I doing this stuff? Trying to attract better leads, like higher level content, right? Versus like, hey, here's how you make a funnel and here's how you ship a pixel. So I know that because like I'll go in and I'll identify, and then once I know, then it's like, it is the team or it's not the team. And if it's not, then I move on to the next thing, right? The sales guys, I got them from 25%. They closed at combined 50% last month. They can't close any higher. Like, what are they going to close at? 80? It's like, that's high enough. So then it's like, okay, we're still having issues. What's the next issue? All right, the coaches, fired him, put in Chad. All right, now what? All right, now we got, like, you know what I mean? It's just one thing at a time. But if it's my team, they have to go. Like, I'm not going to sit there and pay someone money to fuck up my business. Like, that's a joke. So anyways, what questions do you have, if any?
Yeah, no, that all makes sense. That's totally opposite what I wanted to ask you, but it's so true.
What do you want to ask me?
If I need to change the entire direction of my ads, but if I can go in.
No, Rose, all ads do is get people interested.
But if someone's coming in for a recipe and then they drop off when we send the call booking link, it's like, what more?
But Rose, like, again, when you go in, you go in, you can see the quality. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So is the quality bad? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. Can you book 10%? Can you get 10% of the leads to book a call?
Yeah.
Okay. So is it the fucking ads problem, or is it the people you put in charge to do that?
But if the ads were better, then they'd have a better chance.
Yeah, Rose. I mean, sure. Right? If you fucking sold a program where people didn't have to do anything, it'd sell better. I get it.
Yeah.
But like, that's not really the issue. Right? You're making excuses for people. It's like, and if you really think it's the fucking ad, then fucking change the fucking ad already. Pull out your phone for your hour and fucking shoot the ad and fucking put it up. It doesn't take all day. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, you act like you're this big Titanic ship like Tanner. Dude, I have a team like this. Okay, so here's my team. We got all these freaking everywhere, right? All these people. So when I want to turn the ship, it's like this. Like, I mean, you're like this, and you've got like two people. You're just like, nope.
Yeah.
And you're acting like it's like, oh my God, the ad. It's like, why did it take you 3 months to change the fucking ad? If it really is the ad's fault, then test it and you'll know in 24 hours. I want you to win, and it's like, you gotta, I can't do it for you though.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I can get on a call with you and show you how to be a dick in a nice way and like get the job done, or like, this is how you need to fire someone, but you have to do it. It's uncomfortable. It's not supposed to be. You know, like you hear me on the calls, right? Like, oh, Tanner, I don't want a message. Be fucking poor. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's like, you have to learn this skill. You're great. You're a great solopreneur. Like, you could come in my business and I'd probably hire you and you could do great work because you can get shit done, but like, can you lead?
Yeah.
It's a totally different skill.
And the only way to get the skill is to do it.
Yeah. And like, could I be a better leader? Certainly. Could I clean up my language? Yes. Could I give out more flowers? Probably. But at the end of the day, like, people know I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I don't tell anyone to do something I'm not willing to do. So I'm like, listen, motherfucker, if you could close better than me, then you can fucking be in charge. Tell them shut the fuck up and do what I tell you to do. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, someone has to lay the law down. You can't just be like, well, what do you think? Well, kumbaya, let's hold hands. That's not real. Like, I just don't really see that very often. And in the times I do, it's like the product is so fucking good. It's like you're selling weight loss. This isn't like the most renowned, prestigious product in the world. I had a guy today, so came here today, he used to be a fitness coach, right? He totally changed his business. His offer now is for $70, he can remove bad reviews from your Airbnb and whatever the and he's doing $70,000 a month. Do you think he's really that much better at business? Oh my God, he's so much better. No, he has a really good product, but you're selling weight loss, Rose. So at the end of the day, no matter how you change the ad, it's like, you're fat, let's not be fat. That's what you're selling. So the product is not going to get a lot better. Like, it is what it is. Like, elite CEOs, like, the product is business coaching. There's only so many ways we can throw this slice of pie out there. So if I really want to build a bigger business, what do I have to do? I have to change the offer. But if you're going to go down this path and you want to stay a fitness coach, then like, this is what's in front of you. It's your team, and your team has to perform better. They're not performing nearly as good as they need to. But if you just start the relationship off the right way,
yeah.
Versus like the way you do it, I'm assuming is like, you're very like, yeah, so just wanted this to be a very fun place for you to work. And like, I don't know, whatever you probably say. I get people on the fucking call and I'm like, all right, so the culture here is really fucking high level. This is how it is. I'm really fucking aggressive. You don't like that? Fuck off. Got it? Great. This is what is required. You can't do it? Fucking leave. Like, I scare them. I'm like, you understand what you're coming into. This is the fucking jungle, dude. I'm a fucking gladiator. I like pretty much that blunt. And then when they come in, I'm like, all right, motherfucker, here we go. Let's see what you got. Like, I don't mince my words. Like, if you came to my sales calls, I literally talk the way I'm talking to you right now. I'm like, that was a joke. That's trash. Could I say it nicer? Sure. But like, at some point, I need people to get the point. It's like, that's not good enough, dog. That doesn't fly at this company. Because if you don't do that, like, how are people supposed to take you seriously if you're just always like, it's fine, we'll do better next time? No, motherfucker, there is no next time. It's now or never. Like, we're not gonna live forever. I don't got time for this shit. Sorry, I keep going on a rant. I love you and I want you to do well, but it's frustrating for me to watch because like, I want you to do well and you're a great person and you work hard, and it's just like, why bother then?
Yeah.
Like, just come work for me and make money and be stress-free then. Like, I just don't get, like, why put yourself through this if you're not going to do it? It's just, you go work out every day and then you eat a dozen donuts.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, bro, I was like, just don't fucking work out then. Like, what's the point? Like, I think it'll work eventually. It's like, no, it won't. You're eating fucking Boston cream pies.
Well, they're not vegan, so I wouldn't eat that, but you know what I mean?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Like, anyways, so do you have questions though? Or do you need me to walk you through like a mock interview or like a mock firing, or like what, like, do you want me to show you numbers that I like hold my team accountable for, or? No,
I mean, I'm hiring for the messenger. Okay. So the way that you went through the interview, the next.
And like, if you've paid my team, right? And like my team is sending you dip shits, you need to tell my team, hey, appreciate you guys. I don't want dip. Don't send me anyone who doesn't hit this KPI. I
just did that. I should have done it when I first hired them.
Because it's your company.
Yeah.
Like, what happens is people will hire someone and then they're like, blame them. It's like, no, it's your fault. You make the call. You know how many sales guys I've interviewed recently for like sales positions? And I'm like, they're trash. Or they're like, oh, I live in the UK. Or like, I had to take 3 months off for personal reasons. Like, you're mentally soft. I don't want your ice cream on my sales team. Like, why? Because I don't want that crap on my team. Like, it doesn't help me. I need fucking warriors. You just have to hold the line. And there's different ways of leading. Like, if you want to lead that way, great. But like, it's easy for, like, I'm not gonna say it's easy for him. It's just like, his ad agency does 350 million a year, and Coca-Cola gives him probably 10 billion to just fucking blow on Chuck E. Cheese ads. You know what I mean? It's like, what is
Oh, kumbaya, guys.
like? It's like he's not a small business owner.
Yeah.
And if you like look at what doing and like these bigger guys, like they get A players. Why? Because everyone says the same thing. Your company is only as good as your team. And every time I go away from that, guess what I come back to? Oh, I shouldn't have hired him. Right? Because it takes three things for someone to be good. Like one is like they got to have like drive and ambition. Like they have to actually want to be good, like competitive greatness. Two is they have to have competency. That's a big issue for most people. Like they want to do good and they want to like follow you, but they just can't fucking do it. That's the biggest issue with most people. It's a waste of time.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting. And you just feel like you're putting in so much effort and they get this much better, like this much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So your whole team, you need to really look at your team and be like, is this the person, if I stepped away for 3 weeks, I could trust, could get shit done? And if the answer is fucking no, they gotta go. Your business, it's very simple. If you can get 10% of your leads to book a call, right? And you can get your sales rep to close at 80% of what you can do, okay? Or like, even if you just did one of these, close at 80%, or, you know, close at 80% of what you can do, or get 10%, like the number would already move. Because even if she closed at the same percentage, if you get 3 times the amount of calls, then 1250 goes to 400.
Yeah.
Now you're making fucking money. If you did both, holy you'd be fucking crushing, right? And then you'd be like, oh, I could spend 30 grand next month. And then like, you get what I'm saying? It's like you have what you need to hit 100 grand. You just gotta fucking do the work, and your team is not good enough. So make your team good. So like with Elite CEOs, when I was getting to the 2 million a month mark and we hit it, it was like a great feeling. And then like COVID ended and all this stuff. And like now where this business is at, it's like, I want to keep the business because I learn a lot. It's good for content, it's cash flowing, etc. But it's like, I know it's not going to hit 9 figures. So I don't bother anymore. I'm like, I put people in place and I'm like, they need to do the job. I don't have time to babysit anymore. Like I don't have time anymore to keep coming back and fixing shit. That's like, I need competent I need everywhere. So that's what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And if they can't do it, they got to go. Cause I'm like, bro, like I'm not going to put my life on hold for your dumb ass. Like I have dreams and ambitions too. Like this company is great, but it's like, you got to be able to provide value to me, not the other way around. I'm paying you money. You have to give me something in return. I just don't want to see you struggle anymore. It's like, you've been doing this for 8 months. Like stop. It's enough. Please. Please God. Like you're not a charity.
Yeah.
You're not a bank account. You're not an ATM machine. Like it's a fucking business. You want to make money. You want to hit goals. Your goal from what you told me is you want to make 100 grand a month and you don't want to have to be involved.
Yeah.
So you need to find people you can count on. If you can't, you'll have to be involved forever. Like, you know, since came in, he helped hire 3 new coaches. He's setting up a fucking live event in Phoenix. He's upsold 5 people. So he's making tons of money for the company. I'm like, God, and he's just fucking like this fucking wand. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's like, that's what I need. I need that.
How long did it take you to find someone like this? Like, are there still people out there? Am I just not looking hard enough or long enough?
I mean, it could take, it depends. Like, I mean, the thing is you have to have, it's like your perfect husband. You have to be like, this is what I want, and I'm not going to settle for anything less. And you look until you find it, and and you will find it. But it's like, how patient are you willing to be?
It's not going to drop in front of you.
Yeah, it's like impulse control, right? It's like the same shit with dating and all such stuff. It's impulse. Can you control your impulse to like, oh, I really need some help. I really need to hire someone. I don't want to. It's like, but that doesn't fix the situation.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make it better. Do you have anything else you'd like to cover? I'm sorry I ranted so long.
And remember, I brought you a gift before I ask you my next question. So you have to be nice.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. All right, back to my ads.
Good now. Okay, go.
Okay. So like obviously when we first started working together, like the first 6 months, I made so much, and that's because it was mainly organic. So it was, and I went on the cooking shows, which I can't rely on. But anyway, so like that person was a vegan woman who wants to look better in her clothes, whatever. And then, so when I started with the ads, January, February, I broadened it, right? So I was like, do you want recipes? And it was broader to people that weren't necessarily vegan, right? So like, it was wider. And like, yes, the leads are like that. I can book 3 to 5 calls.
So do you work with people who aren't vegan?
Yeah. Or
you
like,
do?
yeah.
You do?
But like, I feel like so like this was the ad that I that did, like just recipes,
Yeah,
right?
I've seen it.
Yeah, yeah. So like, why didn't I just make an ad for coaching for the people that I was wanting to coach?
Why didn't you?
Well,
I don't know.
I'm stupid, I know, but like, I feel like I need to pivot it to that and just focus on that. Or should I work with this? Like, what do you think?
Like, at the end of the day, it goes back to the numbers. The numbers will tell you. So I asked you that question earlier. I said, well, why do you think it's the ad's fault? Well, this and this. I'm like, well, if you go in there and message, can you get 10% to book a call? You're like, yeah. It's like, so what's wrong with the ad? You're like, well, maybe I can make it easier ad. All right. Like, I think the point I want you to understand is like, you can test ads faster. Like, I don't know why you think you can make one ad and just run one ad.
What if I break all the ads?
It doesn't matter, Rose. Nothing's going to break. If you have that theory, then instead of fucking waiting 3 months to talk to me and ask me about it, why don't you just fucking do it and then you'll know?
Yeah, no, I haven't.
Do you understand? Like a lot of business, even business coaching, you know where all my advice comes from? Experience. Meaning that the shit you're asking me, guess what I've done? I just did it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, this is the results I got.
Yeah.
If that's what you think, then why haven't you already fucking done it?
Okay, I am doing it. So now ad B is doing better than this ad.
Okay.
So can I shut ad A off completely, or do I dwindle it down 10%?
Yeah, if the other ad is outperforming significantly, then you would turn it off. If it's still like this one's performing a little better, but this still brings in leads, you might run both.
Okay.
It's just using some common sense.
So I've only tested 7 ads. You're saying how many more do I need to be testing?
I mean, Rose, it's like you're not running crazy volume, so it's not like you need to run.
I need to fix this before I do that.
Fix what? Yeah, but I mean, you could do both at the same time though. If your theory is like, hey, my team fucking sucks and I can help them get better leads with better ads, then do both. Yeah. Of course. All I'm saying is like, if you're running that ad now and you can get better numbers than your team, then it's like, then it's not really stop blaming the ads, right? But yes, the answer to your question is like, part of what my media buyer's job is audits the quality, and then she asks for different ads. She audits the quality and we make adjustments.
You come back and you're working so hard, like beyond human, like I don't even know what you take in the morning, but it's like, you know, I feel like I've worked so hard, and sometimes it's easier to just let things be and relax for a second, and then
and then you wake up the next
again.
Yeah, and then you wake up the next day and realize that's a terrible way to live your life, and then you go back at it. It's the same reason you eat donuts sometimes. You're like, yeah, this healthy shit, and you eat it, and then you're like, maybe this isn't the best way. That's okay. Like, Rose, there was one time, you know what I did one time? I remember one time I was so stressed out when I was building my business where it was your size that I just was so spread thin. And I was just like, I'm not going to do messaging calls for the next 2 days. You guys, whatever you fucking do, whatever, it. Like, I was like, I don't give a fuck what happens. Well, I'm going to see y'all on Monday. That was like what I said. I was like, you can figure it out. Cause I was just like so burnt out. Yeah. Then Monday came around and the good news was like, it actually wasn't that bad when I did that, which actually gave me some confidence. Like, okay, maybe it's not like, I don't need to be quite as anal. But then the other part was just like, yeah, sometimes like you just gotta let go. You do. But like where you're at in your business, it's a small team. Like you should have your pulse on all of it.
Yeah.
You only have a couple teams. That's like, what, you got 6 people?
Yeah. Yeah.
You should be up everyone's ass. So
you've been back August, September, October, November, December. You said 60 more days, it'll be January, February, so that's 7 months. So if it takes me 80% more time, wait, does that make sense? 80% more time than you to fix things, that would mean.
But I have a way bigger company than you do.
How many months if I do this?
To fix it?
Yeah.
It depends. Like the messenger stuff could take 30 days or less.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that complex.
Yeah. If I start taking sales calls again.
The sales stuff is like that would take longer. Yeah. Because but the thing is, you don't need someone to take sales calls, to be frank.
I just don't want to do them. I don't.
No, I get it.
Like I have like an aversion. I can't, I don't.
I mean, but the reality is like, you're not making enough money to pay a really good sales rep.
Yeah.
You're not. $50,000 a month, don't cut it.
Yeah.
unless they're going to do hybrid and they're going to make like 8K or something. But again, it goes to the same question. If you don't want to do the calls, then that's your answer. It's like, I don't care enough to take the calls, so I'm okay with the lesser result. And be okay with that. Your decision. You just can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
What would be best for the company is like, you get good messengers and you take the sales calls until you're around 100, and then you can hire a good closer, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would make the most sense. You know, I don't think I was even around when you made that decision. I was like, why did she get a closer? And she's like, she didn't want to do calls. I'm just like, all right. But that's why you're going to only get a beginner, because you can't pay a good rep.
Yeah.
So you get beginners. So you get beginner problems.
I mean, she's actually a really good messenger, like as good or better than me. So I should just.
I mean,
if the messaging isn't my problem anymore, which it's not going to be, I'll feel a lot better to take the calls and I won't be drained of energy.
yeah. I mean, you just got to make some tough decisions. Just make them. So like with her, I'm not against her, by the way. I think she's great. I think she tries really hard. She's sweet. But if she's not good enough, then she's not good enough. And like, how will you know? If you're training her day in, day out, call after call, but the 3 call a week is bullshit. So part of it is also like, if you want to get faster results, ramp up the time, like faster feedback loop. What else, girl? You got anything else?
I think that's it. Just don't ask me personal questions.
Here you go.
Thank you.
I love you. You're I'm a little angry giant.
Oh, it's exactly what I needed to hear. Things that I've been avoiding and have been, just character traits of mine that I know I need to fix, but I've been making myself busy doing other work and not really confronting the problem. But I've gotten to the point where I have to confront it. And if it means I have to reinvent myself again to do it, then I will. I feel like I got just like a whole life coaching session, more powerful than, or just as powerful of David Goggins or Elon Musk or any of those guys were here. Like hearing it from someone that has such a big business and who's done it, and like literally he makes it so simple.